Welcome to the kill count where Wait, I don't think I can use that intro. Right. You know what? Let's just get to the video already. I'm Natalie Rode, and today we're going to be covering Slender the Arrival from 2013. Before this video starts, this is obviously inspired by Dead Meat's Kill Count series, and I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. I've wanted to try my hand at doing a Marble Hornets Kill Count for a while now, but I looked it up and someone else already made that video, which led to me covering this game instead. Slender the Arrival is the official follow-up to the original sensation Slender the 8 Pages and was developed by Blue Owl Studios in association with the original developer Parsec Productions, and its main storyline was written by Joseph Delage, Tim Sutton, and Troy Wagner, who were the main cast of Marble Hornets, playing Alex Crayley, Tim Wright, and Jay Merrick respectively. According to Troy though, 80% of the story was cut from the game for unknown reasons. How many deaths will arrive in this Slender game? Let's find out and get to the kills. The game begins with the main character Lauren stepping out of her car as a fallen tree is blocking the path, and she makes her way through the forest to her childhood friend Kate's house as she is helping her with selling it. Upon arriving, she realizes Kate is nowhere to be found and that the door to her room is locked. While exploring the house, Lauren finds several messages between Kate and CR, whose name is later revealed to be Carl Ross, discussing their similar experiences with the Slender Man. On a table in the kitchen, there is a pamphlet for Beth Hayes' funeral, which is enough for me to put her on the count. Beth's relationship to Kate is unknown, but she's possibly her biological, adoptive, or stepmother. After Lauren finds a key, she unlocks and enters Kate's room only to find the window broken, various scrawlings on the walls, and several pages with similar scribbles. Lauren then hears a scream belonging to Kate, after which she makes her way to the back gate to investigate. After turning on a generator near a construction site, she finds an article about Charles Matheson being found dead in a home, arson suspected. On a wall near the fence of the mining facility that is seen in the next chapter, Lauren also discovers Charles' suicide note. Additionally, we see Charles lying in a burning house later on in the game in a new chapter from the Unreal Engine remake released for the game's 10th anniversary. Exploring further, Lauren eventually comes across the entrance to Oakside Park, where she finds Kate's journal. After a transition into a title card, Lauren enters the park to continue her investigation. She finds a brochure for Oakside Park and its many activities, which include sorbing. Also, small fun fact here, the snippet of the map seen on the brochure is of Gallagher's Canyon, South Kelowna, located in the Canadian province British Columbia. Lauren ventures through the forest and must now collect 8 pages located on various landmarks while avoiding Slender's grasp. She successfully does so, but is still chased around by Slender, after which she passes out. She wakes up in a field the next morning and finds a coal mine after exploring the place. Lauren enters the mines and finds a note from Carl telling Kate to come and see the beautiful woods. Or, wait, beautiful, my bad. Venturing through the mines, Lauren must take a lift that is to be powered by 6 generators to escape. Upon activating the first generator, she soon runs into Kate, who isn't looking her best. I'm going to count this as a kill, as I feel it's similar to James cutting infections in zombie movies, and Genesis, which is a recreation of the original 8 Pages game, proves that she fell victim to Slender. After activating all the generators, Lauren takes a lift and leaves the mines to find a stunning view of Oakside Park from above the mountain. Further up the mountain, a teddy bear can be found leaning against a tree, and upon interacting with it, you're sent to the Memories chapter, where you play as Charlie Matheson Jr. While playing on the beach, Charlie's mother tells him there's lunch in 5 minutes, but a trail of toy trains catches Charlie's attention. He goes further along the beach to collect them, which eventually leads him into a forest. Charlie's parents begin calling his name, but it's too late as he finds himself unable to get out of the woods and is eventually ensnared by Slender's tentacles. We actually see Charlie earlier on various missing child posters, as well as in a burned down house Lauren comes across in prologue. I never forgot about it, it just made more sense to cover it here since it's a more direct death than seeing him in his proxified state. Returning to Lauren's perspective, she treks the mountain and finds a cave that leads to a building where she finds 2 tapes, one with drawings of Slender in the woods leading to the Escape chapter, and another labeled Matheson Farm accompanied by a folder labeled Homestead leading to the Homestead chapter. In Escape, we play as Kate in the few moments before she went missing. She must close all the windows and doors to not let Slender in, but it proves to be all in vain as Slender still finds his way in. Kate hides in her room, but is confronted by Slender, causing her to jump out the window, ending the chapter. Once again returning to Lauren's perspective, she plays the tape labeled Matheson Farm. In Homestead, we play as Carl Ross, who is investigating Matheson Farm after hearing about Charlie's disappearance. The Matheson's main house is located in front of him, in which he finds a note from Maggie Matheson where she talks about playing hide and seek in the cellar. After leaving the house, Carl enters a shed and pulls a lever to unblock a doorway, and discovers a barn where the entrance is blocked off. To access the barn, Carl must find fuel for the generator located outside. Exploring further, he enters a cellar where Charlie also lurks. Upon finding the fuel, he exits the cellar only to discover that Charlie has followed him and is now prowling around the cornfield. He powers up the generator, allowing him to enter the barn leading to the remains of a burnt down house where he finds a key, which is for the chapel gate. Entering the chapel's graveyard, he sees 20 gravestones revealing the deaths of 3 Hayes family members, 15 Matheson family members, and 2 Woods family members. Carl enters the chapel and the door slams shut behind him, after which he turns around and sees a hallucination of Slender, but quickly shakes it off. On the table next to him, there is a note from Frida Matheson revealing that she set the house on fire as a means of salvation from the Slender Man. On the floor in the middle of the chapel are several toys that Carl picks up, after which Charlie busts through the door and chases him out of the building. Carl runs forward and finds himself back in the main house, only on the other side and with access to the attic. Near an open trapdoor at the other end of the attic, Carl finds 2 letters, one by Rose Matheson and one by Maggie Matheson. Rose's letter states that Patricia has gone missing and that she knows it was that man, revealing that she fell victim to Slender. Maggie's letter reveals that both Walter and Patricia ran off and Walter went missing too. I'm going to put Walter on the count here since Patricia's disappearance was revealed to be Slender's doing, so I can only assume the same in his case. Carl jumps down to the first floor through the trapdoor, only to be chased out of the house by Charlie, causing him to drop his camera, after which the feed cuts to black. After playing both tapes, we proceed to the next chapter where Lauren exits the building and treks the mountain again and finds another cave. There are spooky scribbles on the walls, even one saying you shouldn't give Slender $20. This is a reference to an unlockable mode in older versions of the 8 pages where the song $20 by Ron Browse would play if the player got close to Slender. Unfortunately, the mode was later removed due to copyright. Lauren finds a note from Carl Ross explaining how sorry he is and that it can only end with Kate. Exiting the cave, Lauren finds herself in a forest fire where she must make her way to the radio tower while avoiding Slender, whose tentacles are out to get her at any moment. Some falling trees also block her path, so she has to find another way around, making Slender even more dangerous. She finally makes it to the radio tower where her flashlight dies and the door slams shut behind her. After finding the key to a locked door, she goes further into the building where she finds Carl's burned corpse up against a wall with the words "I failed you" scribbled on it. Lauren plays the footage from Carl's camera and we hear him convince Kate to join him in the fire, but she runs away, leaving him to die.
I'm so sorry.
The fire at the end of the hall goes out and Lauren is attacked by Charlie, after which she wakes up in a previously unseen part of the burned down house from Prologue. Charlie blocks the staircase and will attack Lauren should she attempt to go upstairs. After picking up 2 notes, Charlie disappears and Lauren is free to explore the upper floor. Lauren hears distant cries and after investigating, she finds Kate in her normal form, but she attacks Lauren upon being approached. It is unknown what happened to Lauren here, but in the hardcore ending of an older version, she is seen falling to her death from the radio tower. Either way, I'm going to put her on the count because Kate definitely doesn't have any good intentions towards her. In Nightmare, an extended chapter from the Unreal Engine remake I mentioned earlier, we play as Charles, who is scribbling operator symbols in his notebook. He looks out the window to see Charlie standing there in his proxy form. He turns to the door, but sees Slender and starts having a nightmare that takes place in a dilapidated hospital. Charles tries to leave the room he wakes up in, but the door slams shut and he must find a key to unlock it. During the nightmare, he sees Charlie several times, only to be met with a flash of a bright light upon approaching him. Charles also finds notes around that hint to Slender's presence, such as toxicology notes addressing an unidentified fibrous black substance in the patient's blood. In a classroom, Charles finds a note addressing the death of Dr. James Anderson, who wrote some of the notes Charles found earlier. When trying to exit the hospital, the door shuts and the alarm is set off. Charles finds the security office and disables it. He makes his way to the basement through a vent revealed by a fallen elevator shaft and turns off the alarm system entirely. He makes his way back upstairs but finds a room with Charlie floating over a hospital bed, after which Slender attacks. After the attack, Charles goes upstairs to the roof and back down to the lobby through an open vent and exits the hospital. It's all in vain, however, as multiple Slendermen appear in front of him and he is brought back to the hospital, but something is different. Above the door that was locked, there are now burning words that say, "End this." As Charles goes through the hospital, the messages "Purify, Save Your Son," and "Cleanse with Fire" are seen. The chapter and nightmare ends with Charles burning alive as Slender creeps up behind him. I already used up my one Slender the Arrival joke, so without further ado, let's just get to the numbers. I counted 29 deaths in Slender the Arrival. The victims included 15 women and 14 men, leaving us with this almost equal pie chart. Now, people play games at their own pace, but it took the estimated runtime of the game from how long to beat, which is 2 hours. So, with a runtime of 120 minutes, that's a kill approximately every 4.13 minutes. In true kill count fashion, I will also be sharing my most and least favorite kill, but I won't be doing it with awards like James does, at least not graphics-wise. My favorite kill goes to Carl Ross, who died from self-immolation. The painful screams and apologies you hear in the camera footage really makes this death one of the more disturbing ones. My least favorite kill will go to Beth Hayes, because you only see the pamphlet for her funeral and we are never told her cause of death. Now, you could argue that Dr. James Anderson's death is also quite boring, but for it to be in the nightmare that Charles has, he has to be a little more important, so that's why I'm choosing Beth Hayes instead. Thank you guys so much for watching this kill count inspired video. I really hope you guys liked it, and I really hope it wasn't too on the nose. I really struggled with making it my own because I wanted to keep the main elements of the kill count, such as the golden chainsaw and dull machete, which I transformed to just my most and least favorite kill. It's also why I didn't add any of the jokes, because I feel like they would just be 100% copying, and I felt like I wanted to go for a more serious approach, if you will. As serious as Slender the Arrival can get. But other than that, let me know in the comments what game I should cover next, and I might cover it, or maybe not. That depends on how lazy I am and if I end up abandoning this series already. I have a very bad habit of doing both. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks again for watching, and good night.